is a New York show. I am Michael Pinter, where I teach you how to start flipping or wholesaling houses, or if you're already doing it, how to grow your business. So I got a great question from Eric, who asked me about the progression of getting an office and hiring people in the business. He wasn't counting cold callers, because I guess he already has virtual cold callers. This is an interesting question, and I think I have an answer. Now, my answer isn't right for everyone, but I'll give you the answer that was right for me and the answer that I've been told by people who I think really understand it. So we're talking about getting an office. So first, getting an office is an interesting thing, because if you work from home and you're fine working from home and you're productive working from home, again, I don't know if you're alone or if you have a family, you have a wife, you have kids, you have siblings, I really don't know, then you may or may not need to get an office. I'd say it's not necessary. You can get a virtual office, cheap to get a virtual office at a Regus, R-E-G-U-S, or some place where you can just meet people. If they want to know where your office is, that's fine. There are places you can do that for a few $100s a month. But if you're not being productive in your office, or you can't be productive, if you're not being productive in your home, or you can't be productive in your home, then you need to get an office. Now, for me, I cannot work from home, right? And really, it's just me and my wife at home. My kids, my youngest is 19 years old. But I know that if I worked from home, I would be significantly less productive, right? My wife is amazing, but she's also someone who is not going to hesitate to ask me to open up a jar for her. And I would want to punch her in the head. So I cannot work from home. So I have an office really 2 miles from my house, very close. And I needed an office. Now, when it comes to hiring people, there's a lot more to be said about that, because the truth is it's very hard to scale the business without any people working for you. And the question is, when do you hire? Who do you hire? So according to most people, you hire an assistant to do a lot of the crap you don't want to do first. I believe in that. But I think what's really important is when you hire and who you hire for depend on the things in your business that you hate doing, or the things in the business that you're just not good at doing. Now, it's a lot easier to find the things you hate than the things you're not good at. Sometimes you may think you're good at things and you're not. But for me, I'll tell you, the first hire I had was a disposition manager. So someone, because I cannot stand working with buyers. And I also don't work on Saturdays, and I need people to show my houses on Saturday. So I hired a disposition manager first. I then realized I wasn't following up with leads well, so I hired leads manager. And I then hired an assistant to handle some of the junk that I didn't want to do. So that's how I worked it. Now, I've also at this point realized I must hire an acquisition manager. I must. Now, a couple things. Even my disposition manager, I believe, and I could be wrong, but I believe I can do a better job than my disposition manager at selling properties. That's what I believe. I could be mistaken. They might do a better job. But if I really hate doing it, I'd rather have them do it. And even if they're 90% as good as me, or even 70% as good as me, it's still worth it. With an acquisition manager, it's also a similar thing. I honestly believe I can find an acquisition manager better than me. I don't think I'm amazing at closing. I think I'm probably not great at closing and converting leads into contracts. So I think I can hire somebody that's better at it. So I realize there's a weakness in my abilities, and therefore I need to hire somebody who will do better. Right now, if that guy closes an extra few deals a year, he'll pay for himself, right? So you have to examine the business. Now, I look at the business really as three parts, right? There are people who can do just two parts, acquisitions and dispositions. I look at it as three parts. There is lead generation is part one. Part two is sales and acquisitions, so taking those leads and turning them into contracts. And then dispositions is finding a way to monetize the deal, right? So whether that's wholesaling it to a cash buyer, or whether that is closing on it, doing some work to it, and listing it as a quick hotel, or doing a renovation, flip, or a novation, which is really more like a wholesale deal. But there's different ways to monetize deals. The whole point is really the second part, which is getting deals under contract at enough of a discount that you have options to do that. So you have to look at what those parts of the business are, where you are lacking, or where you hate. I know people that cannot stand any of those parts. I know people can't stand lead generation. I know people can't stand disposition. I know people can't stand acquisitions. All kinds of things. So whatever it is, you need to fill those holes, right? Now, of course, there are other ancillary things like bookkeeping and what else? I don't know. Bookkeeping, bookkeeping keeps up. So those are things you can outsource, you can do it yourself, whatever it is, whatever works for you. But that's not a mission critical. I think it's important, right? You need to know your numbers, but if you don't keep your books well, you can still make a lot of money. You just may not know how much you make. So that's how I think you should look at the business. So am I getting my leads generated? If I'm not, should I outsource my lead generation? Be very careful with that, because there are hundreds of companies out there will tell you, we're going to get your phone ringing, we're going to get your leads, and they will not. Things are different in a lot of places. Some will, some won't. They'll take your money real fast, and they will spend it really quickly, and then they will tell you, we need more time, and then after several months, you'll realize that they're not the answer. So be very careful with lead generation companies and outsourcing it. For sales and acquisitions, most people that are in this business are going to try and be the acquisition manager themselves. It's important to realize, as I do, that I am not great at it, and I really probably should hire somebody who is great at it. That's the truth. And then for dispositions, there are a lot of people who love doing that themselves. You can do it yourself, no problem with doing it yourself, but it's important to understand that, you know, and there are tools out there that can make it easier for you. And some parts of the disposition management I do use tools for, but it's important to realize that if you, like, let me get to the bottom of what I'm saying. I do take listings, right? So if somebody comes to me and says, I want full price, this is my house, and if my leads manager or I, if we're taking the initial call, we will say something like, well, that sounds like something you might want to list. You have somebody to list it with. If they say no, I'll still go on the appointment and I'll try and convert them to a listing. If they have somebody to list it with, then I'm not going to get the listing, and I may not even go on the appointment. But the point is that I do take listings, and I made good money last year from listings. But I don't want to sit at an open house on a Saturday or Sunday. Well, Saturday I can't, but I used to sit at open houses on Sundays. Open houses can be soul crushing, even if they're good open houses and you get 15 people. It's still a lot of waiting and doing nothing. And I didn't want to do that, right? For me, it wasn't worth it. And I tell the story. I've told it 100 times. I don't know if anybody's watching this heard it before, but when I first started, so back in 2013, maybe 14, I had a property in Valley Stream, like it was 29 St. John, and I think that's right. And it was I think it was the second deal I did, and it was the second deal I was trying to sell, and we were listing, I think, with a flat fee broker, and if it was $400,000, and if there wasn't going to be a buyer's agent, it was going to be an extra $8,000, and that was a lot of money for me, and I probably over improved and spent too much time. So I got a call during one of my kids' birthday parties, and the buyer said, I have no agent, I want to be there. And I dropped what I was doing, left my kid's birthday party, said I'll be back soon. And it's not far from where I live. And I went there and I got it all ready, and I was all excited. I'm already counting the money. And what happened? What happened was the buyer never showed up. I think that was an epiphany moment for myself, where I said, I cannot deal with these buyers, right? Buyers are liars and sellers are lie tellers, right? So you have to find what the things are in your life that you just want to eliminate or want to minimize, right? The things that really drain your energy are the things you should hire people to do, right? Or in a lot of situations, if they're just better, right? For acquisition management, to be an acquisitionist, I'm pretty good, but I'm not great. And if I can hire somebody better, then it's stupid for me to be doing them, right? Just really stupid, right? If I can get somebody better, that's what I have to do. So that's the basic gist of when to hire. Office really depends on your situation, it really does. But that's it. That's all I got. I hope this was helpful. If you're interested in all the ways that I can help you, go to howtoflipnewyork.com or learntoflipandwholesale.com. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. If you're watching on any media channel, please hit the thumbs up. The likes really help the algorithm. A lot more people have been seeing my videos lately, so I want to thank all of you for liking and for watching. That really helps me. And I post 5 times a week. This week I'm traveling, and it's going to be tough. Well, I've been traveling a lot lately. But I ask you to please keep the comments coming with questions, topics, things you want to cover. If it's something, it does not have to be about the video you're watching.